a clip from the Labor Day parade I want to share. The parade that happened on Labor Day right in the city of Wilmington, and I want to share that with you. But I want to get some information about the parade as well so that I can share them together. So I'm going to be meeting Gerald Brady with the AFL-CIO in about 15, 20 minutes from now, and I'm going to get that additional information. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. I'll be right back, and I'll see you then. All right, thank you for joining me with What You Need to Know. I'm Angela Harris, your host, and I'm joined with Kimoko Harris, ILA, and Gerald Brady, who is with the AFL-CIO, and he's also the fourth district state representative. Gerald has a history when it comes to the Labor Day parade, and that's one of the reasons why I asked him to join us, is because he knows the history of it. And I have a clip of the parade, but I think that it might be even more beneficial if we gave you some history about the parade. So thank you so much for joining me. And Gerald, can you tell us about the Labor Day parade?
Thank you very much. I will begin by saying that I began in 2003 as the executive director of the Delaware State AFL-CIO, and one of the very first responsibilities that I was tasked with was the Labor Day parade. I was hired in July, and the parade was September the 1st, so it was a quick study to get prepared for it, but much of it had been laid out by my predecessor, Nello Paoli, and to my knowledge, at that point, the Labor Day parade had just renewed itself after about a 20 to 30 year hiatus. We reinstituted the parade. Roughly, I'm going to say it was 2000, I stand corrected, 1998 or 99, according to the records that I can retrieve. But what's really important, Angela, is the history that I discovered one day while I was preparing the office for a move, and I found all of these photo albums, and they date back to 1959 and up to, Kimoko can help me, he was reading the last one, I think 65 or 66. And we're not sure at what time there was a disruption or when the parade was no longer continued. But I can tell you that, and Kimoko has been a quick study as well, these photo albums are just a reservoir of history, a history of the Delaware State AFL-CIO with the labor movement. And I got to tell you, most folks that go through these have one very simple thing to say is, wow, look at the participation, look at the not just the participation of the marchers, but the spectators, which is something that we've been trying over the last couple of years to increase. And thanks to your efforts and Kimoko's, the parade has come a long way in the last 10 to 15 years since I've been here. And the other feature that these albums present to all of us is not just the history, but identifying individuals that were, our forebears and brothers and sisters that made this AFL-CIO a great institution and organization. And I urge as many people as possible to look through these. I know Bill McCluskey, who was the former director of, I stand corrected, he was the president of the Building Trades Council. He gets a great pleasure out of looking through these to identify, as I said, people from our past. But and even in some cases, many of the locals no longer are in existence for one reason or another. I know that there was a big baker back when Wilmington had a lot of bakeries, Uberson being so forth, Freihofers. We had a very large baker's affiliate or local. But it's features like that I think are so important for us to be able to relish in the history.
Well, can you put up a couple of those pictures maybe and show like exactly what it is that you're referencing to?
Well, I can. The local, excuse me. One of the other things about many of the historic, these pictures are that the nomenclature, or the local union, the numbers have changed or merged. And so, for example, like the plasterers, and at one time, the AFL-CIO was known as the Delaware State Labor Council, and I see this quite often in many other features. But I mentioned the participation before. Beyond just what were
That's
Marches.
interesting.
the marchers, there's so many participants like the Delaware National Guard and different fire companies and other affiliations or that were not organized labor but participated in the parade, like a couple drum and bugle.
Public support, yeah. And look at this picture where you have hundreds of people. You know.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and for those of us that still follow the Rodney Square transit issue, here's kind of a tribute to Rodney Square, as Kimoko said earlier, the participation under spectators, where you can see here that Rodney Square, this is currently where we hold our parade now, and is on the axis of King Street from 2nd up to Rodney Square, which is between 10th and 11th. And we did at one time and march in the opposite direction. We would go southbound down to the waterfront for a little after parade rally and things. But getting back to your question about can we show some things, here's Local 100, which is a painter's local, IUPAT, which is the local that the affiliate that I'm out of is International Union of Painters and Allied Tradesmen. This was back when it was Local 100, and again, there are so many pictures of different drums and bugle corps and high school bands, which I'm glad I mentioned that because I don't know which band this is, it's hidden, but their banner was curled up by the wind there. But one of the things, Angela, that we've done in our last 20 years when
I see high school, but that's about all you can recognize.
I've noticed that different parade routes in and around this, well, they've all been in the center city of Wilmington, but they've taken different routes throughout the years, and some of them went east to west, coming in from the YMCA to Rodney Square, and then some begin at the waterfront and go up. But it's all inclusive, I know that. Some of the architecture, some of us have been around Wilmington for quite a while, can look at some of the old landmarks that are no longer here. And the other things that these albums, by the way, offer is they've got a rather in-depth repository of conventions as well, a couple of the conventions. But I'll just go back to 59 and it's the next one. That's the convention, and then this was this year's. We were talking earlier about how times have changed. A lot of these pictures, particularly the ones of the conventions and things, illustrate how much our fashion has changed, but more importantly our behavior. Most of them have individuals that are smoking cigarettes. One of the or something else, but in any event, one of the things that one of the features that I noticed in the early 60s was political commentary that was made, and some of these in particular were critical of the candidates at the time, and they were some very ingenious little stunts that people would put together for either in opposition or in support of their candidate. There was one here that was the old Wilmington Bus Company.
Oh, yeah.
And the bus drivers, the transit drivers were opposed to the candidate at the time, J. Caleb Boggs, who was our governor at that time, eventually went on to become our senator. But
really interesting. What exactly, like what was the beginning of the Labor Day parade?
well, Labor Day is, needless to say, it's for all those who labor, who working men and women throughout the country. And here in Delaware, the genesis or the origin was for we as the local affiliations in display of solidarity and unity and brotherhood and sisterhood. We I know that in the last 20 years since we've kind of resurrected the parade. That's been our
You're probably looking for this guy. He had a cigarette
genesis.
in his mouth. This the one you was looking for?
With the cigarettes, yeah. Conrad at one time, by the way, we very proudly have 5 marching bands in the parade. In the last 10 years, I've been here for going on 16 years now. We were trying to think of ways to stimulate participation, particularly with the spectators, and Sam Latham, the President Latham, and I thought, well, let's try to incorporate some of the high school bands, and they love it because the parade is the first weekend before the high school football games begin, which are when most of the marching bands have their chance to showcase their talents. So the parade is really kind of a warm-up for that first football game, and they would love to participate. So Red Clay has always provided us 4 marching bands. One of them, of course, is AI, which is world-renowned, very classy band, as well as the others, McCain, Dickinson, Cab Calloway, and even Conrad. And Conrad at one time was I think one of the best bands in the state, if not the region, but I know AI is now. And William Penn also participates on behalf of AFSCME. So we've got 5 marching bands. A lot of the parents, and I should say relatives, have become our spectators. And again, getting back to the history of some of these bands, we have them chronicled in here. Here's what I was referring to earlier about the different marching groups. This isn't exactly a mounted patrol, as we're provided with the mounted patrols from Newcastle County Police Department and the Delaware State Police Department, but in previous years, I guess independently, a riding school or some stable would showcase their talents. There was one particularly in here that had a dark bus. And the other feature, Angela, is I have picked out, and when I say I have, others have as well, picked out individuals that were tiny little tots at the time, and one of them was John Delaterio. I happened to see, you remember John?
Yeah.
John was on the stage with his dad and his uncle, and I happened to pick him out. I took it to him one day, and I said, this looks like a member of the family. It turned out to be him. But local 488.
I'm looking at Ninth Ward Savings and Loan Association.
Yeah, there's some of the Wilmington, thank you, Angela. There's some of the features that I was talking about, some of the old landmarks in the city of Wilmington. Hardcastles was right next to that, and I forget the name of that church, but it had a clock on it. I know
and this is, when we talk about the public participation, that is just phenomenal. Of the public that used to come out and watch and participate and support the Labor Day March. I mean, that's look like thousands of people. And this is interesting. This is a shot of 199, local 199.
I know, they were something then, they were different.
That's
they were
199.
What were they,
They had 199, the poultry and
yes,
something else workers.
Something with meat.
Yeah, but this is the 199 that I think that we know it as today.
And it was largely, if you look at it, minority then, as it is actually today.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Here is a political statement. What was actually internal. It's a local displaying their opposition to the Pennsylvania-New York Central merger. They were the old train.
Avoid the bread line. Keep the Pennsy line. Transport Workers Union, Railroad Division. Oppose PENA for Penn ARR-NY Central merger. Okay, so they wanted the merger. With Pennsylvania with New York. And that was local 2015. Yeah, I mean, the history of the parade goes way back. We're looking at, we have as far as 1950, what you have here?
1959.
59 here.
And we organized as a federation in 1957. So this is definitely as far back as we can go, but it certainly is reflective of the early stages. I just want to take a moment to illustrate. If you look at all those elected officials, these were, I know only from history, but there's Governor Boggs, J. Callow Boggs, Mayor John Baviar. I could go on, the generals at General Burrow, but the number of elected officials that are displayed there on the review stand, I will say we still have a full participation of our federal delegation as well as our statewide candidate officers and the legislators from the General Assembly right on down to the local municipal and City of Wilmington City Council. But our participation now, unlike it was in the late 50s, is in the parade. And that's a tribute to organized labor because many of them are, like myself, who are elected officials, are also card-carrying members, which is something that we try to promote within the organization and also within the institution, which whatever it may be. And I know, for example, gosh, I could go down a list, but people like myself, J.J. Johnson, Mike Mulrooney, Eddie Oshinsky, Jack Walsh, I could go on and on of members that march with their local affiliations, and that's key. And they all of these individuals or their respective positions are now, they participate, yet they participate in the parade, and that's a key feature.
Yeah, I noticed that, and that was.
Oh, and I wanted to illustrate the ironworkers actually had a very elaborate display of their craftsmanship, of what they were, a project that they were working on that they could demonstrate. And I apologize, I can't find that bus, but
that's okay.
Again, I'm hoping to put these in some other type of order, such that number one, we keep the chronological order, the integrity of it intact. But I also want as many people to see these, if they can identify family members or friends or just folks that they knew from previous years, and we can start to keep a record of it.
Well, what did you say the reason for the establishment of the Labor Day Parade was?
Was to display the crafts, the trade and the craftsmanship of many of the locals, and also to make a statement of our unity and our solidarity and our strength, more importantly than anything else, the numbers, because that's essentially what the essence of being organized is, to collectively, which is a big term that's used particularly in the public sector, is collective bargaining through strength. And unity and strength and solidarity are key features of why we are organized labor, and so we like to demonstrate it each year by having a parade for our men and women.
And see, because Labor Day originated in 1882 by a carpenter out of New York named McGuire. I forgot his first name, but his name was McGuire. He was in the Carpenters Union out of New York and was part of what they call was the New York Union. And they organized it, and President Cleveland was the president that inaugurated it as a national holiday, I think in 1895.
It was 95 when it became a holiday.
It was made a national holiday. And McGuire said there needed to be a day to honor and to recognize working people and the accomplishments of labor, and the accomplishment and the impact and the contributions that organized labor and working people had made to the nation. And that was the initial thought behind making a day for working people, which was, constituted as Labor Day.
Thank you, Kimoko. And on, I guess you could say, on a editorial or commentary, from my perspective, is that nationally organized labor in this country is our membership, or per capita, is generally in the area of 10 to 12% nationwide. And so I like when we here in Delaware and organize to march in the city of Wilmington, we continue to show our strength, no matter what percentage it is. We are still a viable force, and hopefully in the next couple of years we'll will
Increase our numbers.
prosper.
Yeah, right.
But
So
it's
what we're gonna
this is
do
the best
is,
way
I
to
guess I'm gonna just
demonstrate
wind
our
down.
strength and solidarity and the
thank you
pride
so
that
much
we-
for
that
joining
many of
us.
these men
I
and women
think,
work for
I
each day.
also wanted to take and stress the importance of the Labor Day Parade and the people in the state of Delaware becoming involved, showing up and showing support and just enjoying a great parade. I mean, we have great band, that the bands are there and they are just great entertainers. You have all the union workers who are providing the services that we all have come to really appreciate and are thankful for, because they're skilled workers doing a fantastic job. And then afterwards we have a part where we get together and we socialize, and there's always something to eat. There's water ice, pretzels, or you may have
Hot
someone
dogs.
there, hot dogs, hot sausages, and there's always beer. But it's a way of just coming together, socializing the unions together, and showing their unity, letting the people in the community be aware of what it is that they do, and giving thanks to you for supporting them. And we just want you all to come out, get involved with, or just come out and sit on the side and watch the parade. The parade is every Labor Day.
At 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. excuse me, we kick off at excuse me, at 4th and King, and march to, as Angela said, march to Rodney Square for some camaraderie. We're hoping to, and this could be a possibility for next year, have a guest speaker or somebody, since it is a national election year, and there will be, I guess you could say, a lot of traffic around that, so it'll be highlighted, I'm sure, by many of the elected officials that are either seeking the support of the AFLC or organized labor, or already have it, and they're just there to reassure us that they support us. So we look forward to that next year. And in addition, I will say, Angela, that in the 22 years since this has been resurrected, the participation has increased each year, and we'd like for it to continue on that slope. But again, as Angela said, we look forward to having you come out with your family members, friends, neighbors. There's been talk of maybe moving the parade to another location, but for right now, Wilmington seems to be the target.
That's where it's been at for many years, and so you want to change that. You want to have a reason, a really strong reason for having to do that.
Yes.
Because it's a place where all the people in the community can come. A lot can just walk there and enjoy it. I know that I enjoy it, but I know that I also talk to a lot of people about the parade who just don't seem to be aware that there is a Labor Day parade on Labor Day in the city of Wilmington. And so that's why I guess we wanted to just make sure that the ones of you that have kind of like, not been tuned into it and aren't aware, and we have a lot of new people too that are in the city of Wilmington, in the state of Delaware, that you can be aware of that and feel free to come out on Labor Day, bring your children, sit on the side. It's a really nice parade. It's only about 20 minutes long.
The parade, well, actually, we've increased it. This year it was 50 minutes exactly, only because we had strategized that, but it's less than an hour for sure.
It's a lot of fun. The bands would love to have you on the sideline watching their talent, and the union, all the unions would love to have you there also, showing your support of what they do. So
I would ask you now a question is, will we be notifying the general public between now and next Labor Day? And I'd like to believe that the answer is yes through this forum,
yes.
And from others. I will take responsibility for either publicizing it or not publicizing it. We've tried many techniques over the years. As I said, one of them was to introduce the marching bands, which was very effective. So we're going to continue to look at new ways to advertise this. So hopefully you'll be hearing from us or seeing something in the local press or on the social media between now and then.
Absolutely. I just always think that it's something that people should know about. It's a really nice event.
And for those that are worried about any public safety issues, there quite frankly have never been an incident with our members or any parking. The parking's free, by the way. Down at the we thank the city of Wilmington Parking Authority provides us free parking at the train station parking lot, and we've had plenty of support from the state, county, and city police officers in helping us prepare for the parade, but also participate in it. So public safety's not been an issue at all. Matter of fact, just the opposite. We like to promote the city of Wilmington. I, like you, are lifelong members of the city and very proud of it. And it's a very safe place.
Okay, so I guess we'll end on that. Just wanted to, I'm going to be showing a clip of the Labor Day Parade, because we did record that, and you'll get to see what I'm talking about as far as the unions and the bands that I have. That I don't know if I have them all there, but hopefully I do. But you'll get to see that recording. I know you'll enjoy it because we enjoy doing it. And again, thank you so much for joining What You Need to Know. I'm your host, Angela Harris, and when you see me, if you have any ideas or suggestions or comments, please feel free to share that with me. I'd really be interested in hearing what you have to say, because this is all for you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gerald.
My pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you all next year.
And have a great day.
On the AFL banner, we have the governor, Lieutenant Governor, Senator Coons, our state auditor, our state treasurer, Senator Carper, and distinguished mayor of the city, their recipient. They deserve it. And right behind them is the world-renowned AI High School Marching Band led by Rich Weaver. And Karen Hartley-Nagel riding Goat Island there. Let's hear it for AI DuPont. Boilermaker with local guard team. Pleasure to be here. Next up, lane 9 is State Representative Earl Jakes. Earl, thank you. Also, big guy with the shirt, our Secretary of Labor, Saran K. Past Representative Dennis Williams.
Oh, there's Earl J.
Okay, I got it. 199. Oh, Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker, right here. County Executive Matt Myers, Rashima Dixon, County Representative. City Representative. I shouldn't even announce them. Let's hear it again for Local 42. Let's hear it again, 451, please. Iowa workers. And the business manager trailing. Up next. Vice President of the Building Trades, Mike Hackett, doing also business manager. Let's hear it for him. Nobody else has. Well, no, I just... Kimoko.
There you go.
I think it was a great turnout. Happy Labor Day, first off, to everybody. It shows that organized labor is strong in Delaware, and we're coming back full steam. Thank you.
I think people enjoyed themselves. We had a great turnout, and this is what Labor Day is about. Laborers giving back to the community and working together.
We had a good turnout of various unions, different unions, with their families, relatives, and kids, to express it and let Delaware know that labor is still alive, we're still strong. We got some issues that we're fighting because there are forces in this country and in this state that don't want to see unions survive. One of the issues we're fighting against is automation. Automation is not something that we can look at as progress, because progress you got to look at Social progress means that people are able to fulfill their dreams and their wishes. Automation goes against progress in the sense that people go home, you send a machine to work and you send workers home. Workers home with no jobs, that have bills to pay, have mortgages to pay, have kids to go attend the college, price of college. And so automation is an enemy, as I see it, of social progress. And we have to fight against automation and fight against machinery. It's almost like, you know, the movie The Matrix, and when they were fighting the machines, to take over by the machines, and we're fighting the same kind of battle here, but this is in real life. In the post office, in supermarkets, at airports, at ports, you know, where we work at ILA, we're at the port, but some ports are striving toward automation, where they have all machines doing the work and very few workers. So automation is a big fight, and that's why we have on the back of our t-shirts, you know, we must not let machines replace us, because if we allow automation to move as it's moving, machines will be replacing people. You know, machines don't pay bills, machines don't buy cars, machines don't buy houses, so we have to fight automation. And that's what this slogan means on the back of our shirts. We must not let machines replace us. Organized labor and unions have to begin to fight for and to fight against.